All right, good morning, everyone. Let's get right into the stock market technical analysis. Closing out the year so far, it's been a very great year. If you've been with me for the entire year, thank you for your camaraderie. Thanks for following along, leaving comments. We've been having a good conversation all year, so I appreciate that. Hopefully, I've been able to put you guys on some winners this year. I know for me, it's been a very profitable year. We for the most part been shorting the market since January. And continuing to look for short trades. Caught most of the bear market rallies, shorting those. Missed one of them. But in general, we're not going to get them all. And then we're going to continue to see if we can find profitable trades going into next year. So if you guys are finding value in the content, tell people about the channel, subscribe, like it, do all the stuff that is supposed to help the channel. And I'll continue to look for solid, high probability trade setups that hopefully cash out for us. All right, at the end of the day, that's what we're looking to do, is make money. Okay, so let's get right into it, guys. As I go along, if you haven't taken the course, I put a course together a few years ago at the request of my subscribers, really outlining my strategy, what I look for in charts. It's really a technical analysis course. It's meant to help you learn how to read charts, what to look for based on the strategy that I go through in my videos. I priced it affordable, but I don't give my time away for free, so it is there if you're interested in that. Link in the description below. And then again, private member group. We're going through some additional trade ideas. I'm just communicating with the private member group on a more frequent basis. The general subscribers, I put out a video every day, but the private group, I'm in there talking with them usually every morning, at least giving some comments, showing up individual trade ideas, things I'm looking at, things I can really point out kind of on the spot as I'm seeing them. So link in the description to join that. It's $3, it's $5 a month. I think YouTube gives me like $3 or something of that. So very small, very affordable. Everything's accessible on this channel. So if you guys find value in that, feel free to join up. Okay, triple Qs. Okay, so here's what I'm looking at. Well, we got to, again, we're in the holiday trading, so it's a little higher risk, I feel like, for like breakdowns and breakouts and whips, moves in directions. Things can be very choppy. So for trading, it becomes tough because the market will show a move and then it'll just fade it and reverse it and things like that. So a little trickier for taking moves, at least this week. But here's the hourly chart. We've got this downward kind of drift, downward price channel really happening since about the 13th or so. And we just continue to drift lower. We are building some bullish divergence on the RSI and the PPO. So if I can zoom in here, you can see still have that divergence intact there on the PPO, and the RSI, we still have it. It's just barely there, but it is kind of there. So bullish divergence showing up, but again, divergence isn't a reason to go long or short. All right, it's just a condition. All right, it's just giving us a condition for a potential rally, but we don't have any buy signals or any indication that this downward drift is over. So if we get a breakout of this channel, then yeah, we could see a little rally happening. If we're going to rally, again, I still got this target. This is a rally target. If we see a rally, that would be my rally target. It'd be about 279.50, somewhere right in there, 279. All right, so, if you're looking to trade that, you'd want to wait for a breakout, and then you could see that rally up there. And for me, if I was going to trade it, I'm not saying I will, I'm not exactly sure, but if I was going to, then I would want to re-short right here at about that 279.50 area, 279. I'd start stepping in and re-shorting on that rally into resistance, okay? Looking at the daily, again, that is kind of a key area of support right through here. You can see lots of reactions, so that would be the area of resistance where I think we'd probably stop short. All right, that's all I have on that potential for the rally. Otherwise, we could break, and if I just go... And that's kind of the way I'm leaning, I guess, is that we're going to break down. It's tricky, but the thing is, all right, we're down at the recent lows. We're down at the lows for the year. All right, here's the lows for the year. We gap down right here, and the lows are about 255-ish, somewhere right in there. lows on the year, but they rallied that right up. The close is really the most important. It's about 260. All right, so that's the lows of the year. You can see we basically held support, and here we are again, another test of those lows. So do they break? I guess, we could have a end of the year kind of flush down. Breaking this level should usher in a pretty swift move down to my target, which would be, and I have to kind of clean up this, let me get rid of this one, is right there. 238.50, 240, somewhere right in there. That's your pre-COVID highs. And that would be that kind of final just swift flush down. All right. And from where we're at now, that's basically, 8% probably pretty quickly. And I think I'd be looking to be a buyer to go long down there. I can't say for sure yet, but we'll, that's where I'd be looking for some sort of support and stability for maybe a decent rally to take place. Okay, so that's it. We're there at support. If this breaks, we should flush down. And that's the way I'm leaning. One of the reasons why is we've already tested it twice. This is a third time. I think, third time's maybe a charm. Doesn't have to be, but I've definitely got, I'm on the lookout for that break and that kind of flush down. And if we see that, we'll probably see the VIX spike. I know this was a trade VXX. It's not really doing much. Again, these volatility trades, I typically don't hold on to these things. I typically, if they're not working, it's usually a timing thing. These are very similar to buying options. If they don't really work right when you take the position, I don't give them a whole lot of room, because these will, in general, have a drift lower if they're not working. If you catch the trend right, you'll see a strong rip higher, and the decay doesn't necessarily hurt you. But if they don't work right away, the decay just kind of eats away at these things. So I don't hold on to them. So right now I don't have any of this, and I'm just kind of, this is something, if I see that break and I see that strong flush, I'll jump on some of this, but that's about it. And these typically are longs. This is volatility. So as markets crash or start to break down, volatility spikes. But we don't have that yet, so that's all I've got. Not really interested in this one at the moment. All right, let's take a look at Apple. And I'm just going to run through some various things I'm looking at today. Apple, all right, breaking down. Pretty good size move, especially for Apple. Taking out the lows. Here's the lows of the year right in there. And that was sitting at about, kind of adjust that a little bit, right there at about 130, somewhere right in there. Today, that's a sell signal as long as it can hold. Now, they might step in and bid it back up. That's very common this time of the year because it's relatively low volume, so it's not that difficult to do for people that want to, hedge funds and whatnot that want to prop the market up. But that's a breakdown of a key level of support, all right? We've held that. That's the lows of the year, so you break, and we're seeing that sell signal as of now, and that's not bullish for the market to see Apple breaking and having a sell signal today. So if this holds, then we should see a continued move down in Apple. My next target on Apple, I really think we're probably heading down. Maybe we get a little bounce here around 118.50 or so, but I do think we're probably heading down to about this 110 area. That is, if I go to a weekly chart, that's kind of your support channel, the top end of it, that started back in 2012, all right, on the weekly. Not a super well-defined, top range, but bottom of the channel is much better, all right? You can see here, this was started back in 2009, 2010. We got lots of reactions down here. So my longer-term target for Apple is down here, all right? So maybe we go like this. We bounce, grind, and then roll over. My longer term target, and that's where I think we're heading, probably down to about the 85, 84, somewhere right in there. Your pre-COVID highs are right there. So that would be a nice range of support if it, got there relatively quickly. Okay, semiconductors. Again, talked about these as being good short setups. Been talking about them for a few weeks now. Let's go down to the daily chart here. On the daily, you'll see, again, this is the setup, all right, as we were creeping higher right here. All right, we kept kind of popping highs, popped above the 200, but failed to close above it. That's a kind of a key tell, but also just the fact that we kept kind of popping gradual highs with negative divergence on both RSI and PPO on the daily chart, indicating that we had a high probability of this being a bull trap. false breakout bull trap, and sure enough, you see the price action after that, just pretty much straight down, trapping all that long money and heading lower. So I think this one has a ways to go. At the end of the day, it does appear to me that we're heading down to the pre-COVID highs of about 270, and there's a trend line that comes in play up to about 278. Somewhere right in there looks to be the range of support. I think we'll probably come down and at least tag that pre-COVID high right around that 270-ish area. So mark that on your chart if you're interested. But again, continues to look good. So all the individual semis like NVIDIA just flushing down, basically in the last few days. I mean, this thing's down 17%. So very profitable so far, looking good. Another one, Qualcomm. This one I think is heading right down here. There's a gap to fill right here, and it comes in with a trend line, but the gap fill on that is about 94-ish, somewhere right in there. And then there's this potential trend line, and that comes in at the same area. So that's my target right down there around that 94-ish. So from where we're at now, that is a continued drop of about 12% or so, somewhere right in there. So continuing to cash on that one, looking good. Okay, First Solar here. Again, breaking down today. Now we have this head and shoulders pattern. It was you had the neckline right here, and this was your head and shoulders. Again, not my favorite pattern. It's not the pattern that I trade usually against, but I do, we do want to mark it out and take note of it. There is the potential for the neckline to be right about here at 145. Okay, that would be kind of a symmetrical neckline, which would put it right there, which means that the buyers will likely step in and try to hold that neckline today. I don't expect it to just break down 4%. I suspect the buyers will try to step in and hold this area of support about 145. So keep an eye on that. But bigger picture, and really it's always important to keep track of the bigger picture. On the daily chart, we have this big bearish rising wedge pattern. All right, we broke down a couple weeks of consolidation because dip buyers never, people that don't man it, they're not chartists and they're just fundamental people and things like that. They don't take note of that. So they they were buying the dip, that little dip there, thinking there was more upside, and boom, pretty impulsive selling the last 2 days. So that's what you want to see from a short, from a short perspective. You really want to see that dagger through the heart of the bulls, trapping in that long money. It's important to trap the money, and usually the more impulsive the move, the better it does at trapping money, whether that's a gap down or strong selling pretty quickly. Trapped longs are future sellers, and as a short seller, that's what you want. You want more selling. So, and again, I'm not just a short seller, but again, I have been primarily trying to short this year because we're in a bear market, and we picked up on that bear market back in January, February, right there before pretty much anybody called it a bear market. If you've been with me, I've been catching this move to the downside, so we continue to look for shorts in the bear market. And I think there's more downside. Again, my target on this one still remains gap fill down here at 77.81. And the selling looks to be increasing, so we'll see if we can start to get some, more moves to the downside. We'll probably at least have some sort of a rally within this move. I don't think we're going to just get straight there. Maybe they'll try to hold the 200 and stage a multi-week rally, something like that. I would expect that, but maybe something like that, and then we roll over. It's going to take a little while, so we'll keep an eye on it, but it is cashing. I think I'm up about 10, 11, 12% on this one. And it's continuing to, continuing to work. So we stick with it. Name of the game, guys, and I teach this, really just on my daily videos and in my course and just in the channel in general, is if a trade is technically okay, then we stick with it. And, I get a lot of comments when we have a 1 day rally against a short position or some position that I have. We have a 1 or 2 day rally or some sort of move against the trade that I've put out. But doesn't change the technical picture. So for me, I just say, okay, I'll just, maybe I'll add to the position, things like that. But that's it, guys. This one is continuing to work. Here's this is the bond market TLT, and obviously over the last couple days, last 2 weeks or so, the rates have been kind of spiking. I don't expect this to last per se, just given the nature of where we're at in the year. But again, rates are spiking. So TLT, I don't have a trade here. I'm not really interested in trading it, but from what I can tell, potential downward channel here, had a breakout, but it was a false breakout, and that they're fading it back down to the channel. So that tells me that there's a decent chance that these bonds are going to come down to the lows down here and kind of make new lows on the year or maybe next year. I don't know. It's probably not going to happen this year. Obviously, it's not. But heading down here, which means interest rates are going to spike, that should be the nail in the coffin for the market. Interest rates spiking, especially for growth stocks, is very bearish, and you should see there's probably going to be some real problems if we see a spike in interest rates. So yeah, that's what I got. As of right now, this TLT continues to sell off, which means interest rates are continuing to spike, and that's bearish for the market. Somebody pointed out this one in the comments below, and guys, I do read the comments. So if you're talking about stocks in the comments below, I do kind of scan those, and I look at the charts and see if there's anything there. I don't see anything there on this one, guys. It's just a one-day kind of drop. For me, I'm not in this position. I was looking to short it earlier in the year. We tried to short some oil. I think we had minimal success. It just wasn't really working in general. So we didn't really get much going there. On this one, I've just got this trend line here, and for me, that's the trend line that I'm most concerned with. The 200-day is right there, and I would just, until you get a breakdown of that, there's no sell signal in my mind. All right, so this is just chop. You can see, and yep, that's it. No sell signal. All right, Tesla. So Tesla's been collapsing. Again, I've continued to think Tesla was going to collapse, and I think there's more downside to come, although I don't know if we might get a bounce here. All right, there's some support right in about where we're at. It's about 110, 11, 111, right in here, basically right where we're at, and there might be a bounce here. It's not something I'm interested in shorting after it's had such a big move down. On the hourly chart, I don't really see any bullish divergence, though. There's nothing really going on for the divergences, so it tells me that there's more downside to come. All right, whether you get a bounce or not, I would be looking to sell the rip for sure. There's a gap fill right there at about 122-ish. Any kind of gap fills and things like that are opportunities to maybe short in my mind. And yeah, this one's probably got a ways to go. Again, Elon Musk, the media during this kind of bubble basically that we've been in for the last many years touted Elon Musk as being a genius, but in general, he was the richest man on paper because his stock had been pumped up, all right, by all the money pumping. And this guy was kind of king of the king of spin. Let's put it that way. A lot of the pump would come on, him talking about self-driving cars that don't exist, Cybertrucks that don't exist, robots that don't exist, hyperloops that are cars driving in a tunnel. I mean, recognize it for what it is, guys. So whether this thing becomes some great company in the future doesn't mean that the price is justified today. And that key level of support right there, you can see that when that pretty much went, it was about 180. It's just a flush. It's just been a collapse, basically. So, yeah, could continue. I don't see any indication that there's a bottom here. This one, MDT, continues to look like a pretty decent long setup. Not actionable yet, but I do want to continue to kind of point it out. I am looking at it. I just don't see a trade trigger, an entry yet. If you guys are interested in learning kind of how to break these charts down and to find that attionable trade, then again, check out my course. It's a good time to, go through it. During the time off, you can read through it and, watch the videos. Maybe be primed for next year on this trading strategy. So check it out. Link in the description below. MDT bullish falling wedge here, but big bullish divergence on the daily PPO, and decent divergence here on the RSI. If I can mark it out, I have the hardest time. There it is. And but what happens is just because we have divergence, we don't have a buy signal, so it continues to kind of drift along this support line. I need to see a breakout of this. All right, I'm waiting because we're in a bear market. I don't want to just buy this thing at support. I'm more interested in waiting for that breakout. And if the breakout comes and we've got negative divergence, I'm not going to take it. But if we have a nice clean breakout, then we probably can get that rally. First target, 87, decent resistance up there, and then the 200-day, and I wouldn't let that thing go much beyond that. That would be my trade, but it's a trade setup, just not actionable yet, so keep an eye on it. Gold and gold bullion, again, I don't see anything quite yet. If I have to readjust this a little bit. Perhaps we've got this bearish rising wedge pattern. We definitely have negative divergence here on the daily chart, on the PPO and the RSI right there. So again, it to me looks like gold, like a breakdown is imminent. No sell signal, but I think we're probably going to break. And if we break, there's going to be a minor pullback. All right, the wedge right here would set us up for a move. Oh, the move would be about, it just depends on when we break, but yeah, somewhere maybe around that 1730, something like that. It really depends on when we break out of the wedge. Could anywhere down from 1750 down to 1730 is probably the lows for that dip if you get it. But as of right now, it looks like that's likely. And if you were in the private member group, I gave you guys this trade yesterday, talked about it. GME, it's a meme stock, trash stock in general. I don't care about what the company and the fundamentals are, but there was a trade trigger yesterday. So on the daily chart, you'll see here that we had some support right in here at about 1975 or so, support. And then as I zoom in here, just a couple days ago, all right, we broke it. I pointed it out in the private member group. It looked like, as long as they could hold that daily close below there, it would be a sell signal, but the buyer stepped in intraday and bid it back up. All right, so we had no sell signal. Yesterday, we had this breakdown. I said, guys, same setup. We're breaking. As long as it can hold, looks like a sell signal. Usually the second time around, after you get kind of a fake out like that, usually will stick. And sure enough, it did stick. We did get that sell signal today down another 4.5%. And I think there's nothing but downside here. All right, so I don't see any support till we get down to about 1135. Looks like we'll probably get some sort of a bounce right in there. But that's it. We have a sell signal. We have, that triggered yesterday. I'm not in it. I'm not short it. My broker didn't have any shares to short yesterday. They had them 2 days ago when I, was looking at that. But yesterday when we had that pretty solid sell signal, there were no shares to short. So it tells me that, everybody, a lot of other short sellers saw what I was saying and snatched those up. So not in it, but just, if you are in it, that's the trade idea and trade setup. Very profitable so far. If you grabbed it yesterday, you're probably up maybe 10% or so within a day and a half. So, this one's kind of the Wild West. So position sizing is important. From my perspective, I wouldn't want to load the boat on this kind of thing, but you don't need to because it can move quite a bit. Okay, I've been scanning around looking for anything else. I don't see much else. So guys, drop me a thumbs up on your way out. I do appreciate that, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.